Chapter 1. The Curious Cat and the Magical Hat. In the heart of an enchanted forest, where sunlight danced through the canopy of lush, verdant trees, a curious cat named Siri prowled the winding paths, her emerald eyes filled with wonder. Siri was no ordinary feline. She possessed a thirst for adventure and a deep desire to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within the forest's whimsical embrace. As she explored the mossy clearings and listened to the melodious calls of the woodland creatures, Siri's pause led her to an unexpected discovery. Nestled amongst the tangled roots of an ancient oak tree, a vibrant, shimmering object caught her eye. Siri's ears perked up, and she approached cautiously, her tail swishing back and forth in anticipation. Gently, Siri nudged the object with her paw, revealing a magnificent floppy-brimmed hat that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow. Intrigued, she leaned in closer, sniffing the hat's enchanting aura. To her surprise, the hat suddenly levitated off the ground, floating effortlessly before her mesmerized gaze. "Why, hello there, my curious feline friend," a melodic voice echoed, startling Siri. The hat seemed to speak, its brim curling upwards in a friendly gesture. "I am the magical hat, and I have been waiting for someone like you to stumble upon my resting place." Siri's eyes widened in astonishment as the hat continued. "I possess the power to grant wishes, but only to those who are willing to help others in need. Tell me, Siri, do you have a kind heart and a desire to make a difference in the lives of your forest companions?" The cat sat back on her haunches, her mind racing with the implications of the hat's offer. Siri had always been a caring and compassionate soul, often going out of her way to assist her forest friends whenever they needed help. This magical opportunity seemed almost too good to be true. "I do, kind hat," Siri replied, her voice soft and sincere. "I would be honored to use your powers to help my friends and make the forest a better place for all who call it home." The magical hat bobbed up and down in what seemed like a nod of approval. "Excellent, Siri. Then let us begin your journey of discovery and kindness. But remember, the magic I wield is not for personal gain. It must be used to uplift others and spread joy throughout the forest." Siri's tail swished with excitement as the hat floated closer, its brim extending towards her. "Place your paw upon me, and we shall embark on an adventure like no other," the hat instructed. With a deep breath, Siri reached out and gently placed her paw on the shimmering fabric. Instantly, a surge of energy thrummed through her body, and she felt a sense of understanding and purpose wash over her. "Well done, my feline friend," the hat murmured. "Now tell me, who is the first of your forest companions who is in need of my magical assistance?" Siri paused, her mind racing as she thought of the various creatures that called the enchanted forest their home. After a moment of contemplation, her emerald eyes lit up with determination. "I know just the one," she declared, her whiskers twitching with anticipation. "A shy and timid hedgehog has been lost for days, unable to find his way back to his burrow. If your magic could guide him home, I believe it would bring him great comfort and relief." The magical hat seemed to ponder Siri's request for a moment before responding. "Then, that is the task we shall undertake first. Hold tight, my feline friend, for the adventure is about to begin." With a swirl of glittering energy, the hat and Siri vanished from the forest floor, leaving only the gentle rustling of leaves in their wake. The curious cat's journey to uncover the true power of the magical hat had begun, and the enchanted forest was about to witness the transformative magic of kindness in action. Chapter 2. A Hedgehog's Journey Home. Siri's paws padded softly along the forest floor, her green eyes scanning the lush, verdant landscape. The curious cat had just discovered the enchanted magical hat, and she was determined to put its wish-granting powers to good use. As she wandered deeper into the forest, Siri couldn't help but wonder how she could help her animal friends. Suddenly, a rustling in the bushes caught her attention. Siri perked up her ears and cautiously approached the source of the sound. To her surprise, a small, spiny figure emerged. It was a hedgehog, looking lost and frightened. "Oh dear, are you all right?" Siri meowed, her voice gentle and soothing. The hedgehog jumped, startled by Siri's sudden appearance. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. I'm terribly lost, and I don't know how to find my way home," the hedgehog stammered, his little body trembling. Siri's heart went out to the distressed creature. Don't worry, you're not intruding at all. I'd be happy to help you find your way back home. What's your name? My name is Prickles, the hedgehog replied, relaxing a bit at Siri's kind words. Well, Prickles, I'm Siri, and I think I might have just the thing to help you. Siri's gaze drifted to the magical hat, which was resting atop her head. She had learned that the hat could grant wishes, but only to those who were willing to help others. Prickles followed Siri's line of sight, his eyes widening in wonder. What is that? It looks so magical. Siri smiled, and with a gentle tap of her paw, the hat began to glow with a soft, ethereal light. This is a very special hat, Prickles. It has the power to grant wishes, but only if the wish is to help someone else. She paused, her expression turning thoughtful. And I think I know just the wish to help you find your way home. Prickles stared at the hat, his quills trembling with a mix of excitement and uncertainty. You'd really do that for me? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Siri nodded, her green eyes sparkling with determination. Of course, that's what friends are for. She took a deep breath, then spoke the words that would activate the hat's magic. I wish for a glowing path to lead Prickles safely back to his home. Instantly, a shimmering trail of light began to unfurl from the hat, snaking through the forest and disappearing into the distance. Prickles watched in awe as the path illuminated the way, his fears melting away. Wow, Siri, that's incredible, the hedgehog exclaimed, his small face lighting up with wonder. I've never seen anything like it. How can I ever thank you? Siri purred, delighted to see the hedgehog's relief. No need to thank me, Prickles. Helping others is the greatest reward. Now shall we get you home? Prickles nodded eagerly, and together the cat and the hedgehog set off down the glowing path, navigating the winding trails and overgrown vegetation of the enchanted forest. Siri kept a watchful eye on Prickles, making sure he didn't stray from the magical trail. As they walked, Prickles couldn't help but marvel at the beauty of the forest, his quills standing on end with excitement. I can't believe I've been lost in here for so long. It's all so magical, Siri chuckled, her tail swishing back and forth. Yes, the forest is truly enchanted. But don't worry, Prickles, we'll have you back home in no time. The journey was not without its challenges, however. At one point, the path began to fade, and Prickles started to panic. Oh no, Siri, the light is disappearing. What are we going to do? Quick-thinking Siri tapped the hat once more, reviving the glowing trail. Don't worry, Prickles. The hat's magic is still strong. Just stay close, and we'll keep following the path. With renewed confidence, the two companions pressed on, navigating through tangled branches and dense underbrush. Siri used the hat's power to guide them around obstacles, clearing the way for Prickles' safe passage. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the path led them to a cozy burrow nestled among the roots of a towering oak tree. Prickles let out a relieved sigh, his quills relaxing. There it is, Siri. That's my home. He turned to the cat, his beady eyes shining with gratitude. I can't believe you did all this to help me. I don't know how to repay you. Siri purred and gave Prickles a gentle nudge. Seeing you safe and sound is all the thanks I need, Prickles. That's what friends are for. The hedgehog hesitated for a moment, then slowly approached Siri, nuzzling her leg with his snout. You're the best friend I could have ever asked for, Siri. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Siri felt a warm glow of satisfaction spread through her chest. As Prickles scurried into his burrow, she gazed up at the magical hat, a thoughtful expression on her face. So, this is the true power of your magic, she murmured, her paw reaching up to gently touch the brim. Not to grant wishes for myself, but to help others in need. I think I'm starting to understand now. With a content sigh, Siri turned and headed back into the forest, the hat still perched atop her head. As she walked, she couldn't help but feel a sense of joy and purpose, knowing that she had made a real difference in Prickles' life, and she couldn't wait to see what other adventures the magical hat had in store. Chapter 3. The Squirrel's Winter Worries. Siri's paws patted softly along the forest floor as she continued her journey, the magical hat tucked securely under her chin. The enchanted woodland was alive with the sounds of rustling leaves and the chittering of unseen creatures, and Siri couldn't help but feel a sense of wonder at the beauty that surrounded her. As she rounded a bend in the winding path, Siri caught sight of a small, industrious figure darting between the trees. Intrigued, she crept closer, her curiosity piqued. It was a squirrel, its bushy tail swishing back and forth as it scurried from one spot to the next, gathering acorns and nuts in its mouth. Siri watched the squirrel for a moment, captivated by its diligence and determination. Then, summoning her courage, she stepped forward and called out, "Hello there! Can I help you with something?" The squirrel startled, dropping the nuts it had been collecting. Its dark eyes widened as it regarded Siri warily. "Help me," it squeaked. "Why would you want to help me?" Siri offered the squirrel a warm smile. "I have a magical hat that can grant wishes," she explained, holding the hat up so the squirrel could see it. "I've been using it to help my forest friends, and I'd be happy to help you too if you need it." The squirrel's expression shifted from one of fear to one of cautious interest. "A magical hat, you say?" it murmured, inching a bit closer. "Well, I suppose I could use a bit of help. You see, I've been working tirelessly to gather enough nuts and acorns for the long, cold winter, but I'm worried I won't have enough to last." Siri nodded sympathetically. "That does sound like a daunting task. Perhaps the hat can assist you in some way?" The squirrel's eyes lit up with hope. "Oh, if only it could," it exclaimed. "I've been scouring the forest for days, but there's only so much one little squirrel can carry. If your hat could help me find more, or even gather them all in one place, it would be an absolute lifesaver." Siri's heart swelled with determination. "Then that's exactly what I'll do," she declared, tapping the brim of the magical hat. "Just tell me where to start, and I'll do my best to help you prepare for the winter." The squirrel's bushy tail twitched with excitement. "Follow me," it chirped, scurrying off through the undergrowth. Siri hurried after it, the hat clutched firmly in her paws. As they wove their way through the trees, the squirrel explained the challenges it faced. "You see, the nuts and acorns are scattered all throughout the forest, and I have to search high and low to find them all. And with the weather getting colder each day, I'm starting to worry that I won't be able to gather enough before the snow falls." Siri listened intently, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Don't worry," she reassured the squirrel. "I'm sure the hat can help us locate all the food you need. Just lead the way, and I'll do my best to assist you." Finally, the squirrel came to a stop in a small clearing, surrounded by towering oak trees. "This is where I've been focusing my efforts," it said, gesturing to the scattering of nuts and acorns on the ground. "But there's still so much more to gather." Siri nodded, then raised the magical hat, closing her eyes in concentration. "All right, hat," she whispered, "please show us where we can find more of the squirrel's winter provisions." The hat began to glow, a soft light emanating from its fabric. Suddenly, a shimmering path of light appeared, winding through the trees and deeper into the forest. "Follow the path," Siri instructed the squirrel, her eyes alight with excitement. "It will lead us to the hidden caches of nuts and acorns." Without hesitation, the squirrel scampered onto the glowing trail, its tiny paws scampering over the mossy ground. Siri hurried after it, her own pace quickening as they delved further into the enchanted woodland. As they followed the path, Siri marveled at the wonders of the forest. Vibrant mushrooms glowed like lanterns, and flickering fireflies danced through the air, casting a magical glow upon the surrounding foliage. The squirrel, too, was captivated, its eyes wide with wonder as it took in the sights. Suddenly, the path veered to the left, leading them to a hidden alcove beneath a towering oak tree. There, nestled among the roots, was a veritable treasure trove of acorns and nuts, more than the squirrel could ever have imagined gathering on its own. "Oh, look at all of them!" the squirrel exclaimed, its tail twitching with excitement. "This is more than enough to last me through the winter. How can I ever thank you, Siri?" Siri beamed, her heart swelling with pride. "There's no need to thank me," she replied. "Helping you prepare for the cold season is its own reward. Now, let's get to work gathering these provisions so you'll be all set for the winter." The squirrel nodded enthusiastically, scurrying forward to begin gathering the nuts and acorns. Siri watched for a moment, then raised the magical hat once more. "Hat," she murmured, "please show us any other hidden caches we may have missed." Again, the hat began to glow, and a new path of shimmering light emerged, leading them deeper into the forest. Siri and the squirrel followed it, their steps quickening with each new discovery of bountiful nut stores. Hours passed as they worked tirelessly, the squirrel darting back and forth, packing away its newfound treasures in its cozy underground nest. Siri, for her part, remained steadfast, using the hat's magic to guide them to every last hidden cache, her own joy growing with each successful find. Finally, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, the squirrel paused, wiping a tiny paw across its brow. "I don't know how to thank you, Siri," it said, its voice trembling with gratitude. "Thanks to you and your magical hat, I have more than enough food to last the winter. I'll be able to keep my family safe and warm, all because of your kindness." Siri felt a warm glow of satisfaction spread through her chest. "I'm just happy I could help," she said softly. "Seeing you and your family taken care of is the greatest reward I could ask for." The squirrel scurried forward, nuzzling Siri's leg affectionately. "You're a true friend, Siri," it declared. "I'll never forget this, and I'll be sure to share the extra nuts with the other forest creatures in need. Your generosity has touched us all." Siri smiled, her eyes shining with unshed tears of joy. As she and the squirrel made their way back through the enchanted forest, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of purpose. The true magic, she was beginning to realize, wasn't in the hat's power, but in the connections she was forging and the positive impact she was having on the lives of her forest friends. Chapter 4. Building a Better Burrow. Siri trotted deeper into the enchanted forest, the magical hat perched atop her head as she continued her quest to help her animal friends. After assisting the hedgehog and the squirrel, she felt a renewed sense of purpose, eager to discover who else might need her assistance. As she wandered through the lush greenery, Siri caught sight of a rabbit family scurrying about, their expressions etched with worry. Intrigued, she approached them cautiously, not wanting to startle the timid creatures. "Hello there," Siri called out, her voice gentle and inviting. "Is everything all right?" The rabbits paused their frantic movements, turning to face the curious cat. A young rabbit stepped forward, his eyes wide with apprehension. "Oh, it's you, Siri," the rabbit exclaimed. "We're in a bit of trouble. Our home is just not sturdy enough to withstand the harsh winter weather that's coming. We're worried the burrow won't protect us from the cold and any hungry predators." Siri's heart went out to the rabbit family. She remembered the struggles of the hedgehog and the squirrel, and she was determined to help them as well. "Well, that simply won't do," Siri said, a glint of determination in her eyes. "Perhaps the magical hat can be of assistance?" The rabbits' ears perked up at the mention of the enchanted object, their expressions filled with hope. "You mean you could use the hat's magic to help us?" the young rabbit asked, his voice brimming with excitement. Siri nodded, a warm smile spreading across her face. "That's exactly what I have in mind. Just tell me what you need, and I'll do my best to make it happen." The rabbit family quickly explained their concerns, describing the weaknesses in their burrow and the need for a stronger, more secure home. Siri listened intently, her mind already whirring with ideas on how to use the hat's power to solve their problem. "All right then," Siri said, her paw resting on the magical hat. "Let's get to work." She closed her eyes, focusing all her energy on the task at hand. The hat began to glow with a soft, ethereal light, and Siri could feel the power coursing through her. Extending her paw, she cast the hat's magic in the direction of the rabbit's burrow, weaving a tapestry of enchantment around the structure. The rabbits watched in awe as the burrow transformed before their eyes. The earth trembled and shifted, reinforcing the walls and ceiling, while sturdy roots and branches intertwined to create a robust, weatherproof shelter. Siri's ears perked up as she heard the delighted squeals of the rabbit family, their fears and worries quickly melting away. "It's incredible," the young rabbit exclaimed, hopping around the newly fortified burrow. "Our home is stronger than ever." The mother rabbit nuzzled Siri affectionately, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Thank you, Siri. We can't thank you enough for your kindness and for using the magic to help us." Siri basked in the rabbit's joy, her own heart swelling with a sense of accomplishment. As she observed the family scurrying about their reinforced home, she couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride and fulfillment. "I'm so glad I could help," Siri said, her tail swishing back and forth. "Seeing your smiles makes me happier than you can imagine." The rabbit father approached Siri, his expression solemn. We know the magic of the hat comes with a price. Is there anything we can do to repay you for your assistance? Siri shook her head, her whiskers twitching. No, there's no need for that. The true reward is knowing that I've made a difference in your lives. That is all the payment I require. The rabbits exchanged glances, their faces filled with wonder and admiration for the kind-hearted cat. You truly are a remarkable creature, Siri, the father rabbit said, his voice thick with emotion. We will never forget your kindness, and we will be forever grateful. As the rabbit family settled into their newly fortified burrow, Siri could sense a deep sense of security and contentment radiating from them. She watched as they scurried about, tending to their home and preparing for the upcoming winter with a renewed sense of determination. Siri lingered for a while, basking in the warmth of their gratitude and the knowledge that she had made a difference. As she prepared to continue her journey, she couldn't help but feel a growing sense of purpose and understanding about the true nature of the magical hat's power. The joy of helping others is the real magic, Siri whispered to herself, a serene smile spreading across her face. With renewed determination, she set off, eager to discover who else might need her assistance in the enchanted forest. Chapter 5. Siri's Challenge. Siri sat beneath the towering oak tree, her tail swishing back and forth as she gazed up at its leafy branches. Something was wrong. The once vibrant leaves were beginning to wilt, their verdant hues fading to a dull, sickly yellow. Siri reached out a paw, gently caressing one of the crumbling leaves. "Oh, my dear tree," she whispered, her heart heavy with concern. "What has happened to you?" The tree remained silent, its branches drooping as if in response to Siri's distress. The curious cat had spent countless hours exploring the forest, resting in the shade of this particular oak, and now, to see it in this state, filled her with a deep sense of melancholy. Siri thought back to the magical hat she had discovered just a few days prior. The enchanted object had the power to grant wishes, but only to those who were willing to help others. She had used its magic to guide the hedgehog home, assist the industrious squirrel, and strengthen the rabbit's burrow. Each time, the joy she felt in making a positive difference had been its own reward. But now, faced with the withering of her beloved tree, Siri couldn't help but wonder if the hat's magic could be the solution to her problem. She stared at the shimmering hat, its velvet surface shimmering with an otherworldly glow, and felt a familiar sense of temptation. Perhaps just this once, Siri thought, her paw reaching out towards the hat. Surely the tree's well-being is important enough to warrant the hat's power. Yet, as her paw drew closer, a sense of unease washed over her. The hat's condition had been clear. Its magic was to be used for the benefit of others, not one's own selfish desires. Siri paused, her heart torn between the desire to save her tree and the fear of betraying the very purpose that had guided her actions thus far. Siri's ears perked up as the sound of rustling leaves reached her ears. Turning around, she saw the forest animals, the hedgehog, the squirrel, and the rabbit, approaching cautiously, their expressions filled with concern. "Siri, we heard about your tree," the hedgehog said, his voice trembling. "We want to help." The squirrel nodded, her bushy tail twitching. "Yes, after all you've done for us, it's the least we can do." The rabbit stepped forward, his whiskers twitching. "We may not have the magic of the hat, but we have each other. And together, I believe we can find a way to save your tree." Siri felt a surge of gratitude, her eyes growing misty with tears. These animals, who had once been strangers, had become her friends, and now they were offering to help her in her time of need. Suddenly, the decision seemed clear. Siri turned away from the magical hat, facing her companions with a resolute expression. "Then let's get to work," she said, her voice filled with determination. "There must be a way to revive my tree without resorting to the hat's magic." The forest animals nodded, and together they set out to find a solution. They scoured the forest, gathering herbs and nutrients, working tirelessly to nourish the ailing oak. Siri watched, her heart swelling with pride and a newfound understanding of the true power of community. As the days passed, Siri could see the tree's leaves beginning to regain their vibrant hues, and she knew that their efforts were paying off. Yet, even as the tree recovered, a nagging doubt persisted in the back of her mind. What if the hat's magic could have healed the tree more quickly? Was she truly doing the right thing by refusing its power? One night, as Siri lay curled up beneath the tree's branches, she heard a soft whisper in the wind. "You have passed the test, Siri," the voice seemed to say, "for you have learned that the real magic lies not in the hat, but in the strength of your bonds with others." Siri's eyes flew open, and she saw the hat materializing before her, its surface shimmering with an ethereal light. She reached out a paw, and as her fingers touched the velvet fabric, a sense of warmth and understanding flooded her senses. "The hat's power is not meant to be used for personal gain," the voice continued, "but to help others and strengthen the ties that bind us together. You have shown true selflessness, Siri, and for that, the hat's magic will forever be yours to wield." Siri felt a surge of joy and a newfound appreciation for the power of kindness. She had learned that the real magic was not in the hat itself, but in the connections she had forged with her forest friends. Together, they had overcome a challenge, and in doing so, had strengthened the bonds of their community. As the sun rose the next morning, Siri and her companions gathered beneath the healthy, vibrant tree, celebrating their triumph. The hedgehog, the squirrel, and the rabbit all expressed their gratitude, their eyes shining with admiration for Siri's selfless actions. "You have shown us the true meaning of magic," the rabbit said, his voice filled with reverence. "It is not in the power of a hat, but in the power of compassion and friendship." Siri smiled, her heart brimming with contentment. She knew that the journey had only just begun, but she was no longer alone. With her newfound friends by her side, Siri was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident in the knowledge that the real magic was in the connections they shared. Chapter 6. The Magic of Kindness. As the sun began to set over the enchanted forest, casting a warm golden glow across the landscape, Siri, the curious cat, sat beneath the branches of her beloved tree. She leaned back against the sturdy trunk, her eyes closed, as she reflected on the incredible journey she had just experienced. Only a short time ago, Siri had stumbled upon the magical hat, a mystical object with the power to grant wishes. But she soon learned that the hat's magic could only be used to help others, not for personal gain. And so Siri had set out to do just that, using the hat's powers to assist her forest friends, the shy hedgehog, the industrious squirrel, and the hard-working rabbit. Through her acts of kindness, Siri had witnessed firsthand the transformative power of compassion. She had seen the hedgehog find his way home, the squirrel gather enough food for the winter, and the rabbit build a stronger, more secure burrow for his family. Each time, Siri had felt a deep sense of joy and fulfillment, realizing that the true magic lay not in the hat itself, but in the connections she had forged and the positive impact she had made on the lives of those around her. Now, as Siri sat alone, she couldn't help but wonder about the hat's purpose and her own role in this enchanted world. She had been so focused on helping others that she had nearly forgotten about her own personal challenge, the dying tree that had once been her favorite hideaway. Siri's heart sank as she gazed up at the withering leaves, a pang of worry and uncertainty coursing through her. Suddenly, a gentle breeze rustled the branches above, and Siri felt an unexpected presence beside her. Turning her head, she was surprised to see the hedgehog, the squirrel, and the rabbit, all standing there with expressions of concern and support on their faces. "Siri, we heard about your tree," the hedgehog spoke up, his voice soft and timid. "We want to help you, just like you've helped us." The squirrel nodded in agreement. "Yes, you've done so much for us. Now it's our turn to return the favor." The rabbit stepped forward, his eyes filled with determination. "We may not have the power of the magical hat, but we have the power of friendship. And together, I believe we can save your tree." Siri felt her heart swell with gratitude and a renewed sense of hope. She had been so focused on the hat's magic that she had forgotten the true power of community and the strength that comes from working together. With a grateful smile, she stood up and joined her friends, ready to face this new challenge head-on. As they began to carefully examine the tree, Siri couldn't help but notice a shimmer of light emanating from the magical hat, which had been resting at the base of the trunk. The hat seemed to glow with a newfound energy, as if it too recognized the importance of Siri's friends and their willingness to help. With the hedgehog's gentle guidance, the squirrel's diligent efforts, and the rabbit's unwavering determination, the group set to work, nourishing the tree's roots, pruning the damaged branches, and creating a protective barrier against the elements. Siri watched in awe as her friends worked in perfect harmony, their combined strengths and talents creating a synergy that seemed to breathe new life into the once withering plant. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the forest in a warm, amber glow, Siri's tree began to show signs of rejuvenation. The leaves, once dull and lifeless, began to regain their vibrant green hue, and the trunk stood tall and strong, as if it had been given a second chance at life. Siri turned to her friends, her eyes shining with tears of joy. "I can't believe you all did this for me. I thought I would have to use the hat's magic to save my tree, but you've shown me that the real power lies in the bonds of friendship and community." The hedgehog, the squirrel, and the rabbit gathered around Siri, their faces beaming with pride and affection. "Of course, Siri," the rabbit said, his voice warm and reassuring. "You've done so much for us, and we couldn't bear to see you lose something so precious." The squirrel reached out and placed a tiny paw on Siri's shoulder. "You taught us the true meaning of magic, Siri. It's not about the hat or any special power. It's about the kindness and compassion we show to one another." The hedgehog nodded in agreement, a shy smile spreading across his face. "We're grateful to have you as a friend, Siri, and we'll always be here to support you, just as you've supported us." Siri felt a deep sense of gratitude and wonder wash over her. In that moment, she realized that the hat's magic had never truly been about the power to grant wishes, but about the transformative potential of kindness and friendship. The hat had merely been a catalyst, a means to guide Siri towards a deeper understanding of the magic that existed within her and her community all along. As the forest animals gathered around Siri, celebrating the rejuvenation of her beloved tree, the magical hat began to glow once more. But this time, the light emanating from it was not a dazzling display of power, but a warm, gentle radiance that seemed to envelop the entire group in a comforting embrace. Siri watched in awe as the hat levitated from the ground, hovering gently before her. A soft, whimsical voice echoed through the clearing. "Siri, you have passed the test. You have learned that the true magic lies not in what I can do, but in the power of your own heart and the bonds you have forged with your friends. Keep this understanding close and continue to spread kindness throughout the enchanted forest." With those words, the hat slowly descended, coming to rest in Siri's outstretched paws. She cradled it reverently, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and responsibility. Turning to her friends, she knew that the real magic had been within her all along, the magic of compassion, of community, and of the unbreakable bonds that can be forged through acts of kindness. As the forest animals celebrated their newfound harmony, Siri knew that her journey had only just begun. But with the magical hat by her side and the unwavering support of her friends, she was confident that she could continue to unlock the true power of magic, the power to make the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time.